Good Friday afternoon, everybody. It's the end of the week, finally. We're going to kind of go fast this first part of it. We're not going to really talk a lot about what's currently happening because I really want to get to the meat and the potatoes of this video, and that is next week. Right now, though, there is some red flag warnings going on into portions of PA, portions of New York. For the most part, just be vigilant about throwing out your cigarette butts. There's also, and things like that. Don't be doing a campfire. Normal, common sense things when you have dry and windy weather that we do. Here is the winter weather advisory that we have into portions of Wisconsin. We'll kind of keep an eye on that. That is in association with a little bit of a frontal system that's moving in. And I do think that temperatures will not be as high as originally progged. Originally, it was looking like, we could be getting up to over 70 degrees. I think at best we'll hit 70 degrees, but I don't think it will be for a very long period. If we do, it'll be for about a day. Maybe areas south could get into it for a couple days or a few days, but definitely not as long as originally thought. And again, here is that rain and some snow with that system. There is a few scattered showers, and we'll even update the radar imagery for you. And again, there it is. There's some of that snow, and there is some of those rains associated with the front, but that's basically that. And again, there's a system. We got the cold front that's starting to come through. Here's a system that's starting to enter into the west that is going to be kind of digging down into Colorado, and that we will have to watch next week. Tuesday. That's when things get really fun. Alright. Oh boy. Northeast. Tracking weather here in the Northeast is tough. NAM. Let's look at the NAM. I'm not going to really go into a big detailed discussion about what's going on through the weekend hours. I'm not really. There's nothing really much. I mean, we got this frontal system. Again, it gives these folks up in here, it gives these guys some snow, but other than that, I mean, maybe a couple sprinkles or showers here, but it's nothing. I mean, it really isn't. It really isn't major. Now, but the fun and games begins on Monday. Sorry about that. The fun and games begin on Monday with this area of precip that starts forming down in here. The main question. What is the main question? The $1,000,000 question is this low going to take a track like this? Or, in general, is the storm going to take a track like this? Which one? It definitely creates implications. It's a major difference for folks who live in interior sections of the Northeast. You'd think, that's not much if it were to go like this or like this. It is. It is very major. Alright? Because if this takes a track like this, we could be talking about snow into these sections. Okay? And we're going to kind of look at the dynamics of both the GFS and the Euro. Alright? And again, we have to kind of think through here, also looking back at other systems and things like this. We got to think about how both models handle this. Okay? Now, both the GFS and the Euro. We'll look at the GFS first. Alright? Now, it will be warm. The question is about next Friday. That is really when things get in. Alright, so here is our storm. There is, oh my god, sorry about that. Here is where the snow is going to be. Here is our low. Okay. Now, here's the major question. Okay, so this rides up north. Now, we do get some storms that form down in through these guys. These guys are going to definitely see some pretty nasty, severe storms. Okay, no question in my mind. All right, now what the GFS tries to do, okay, and this is really where the difference between the Euro and the GFS come in. We have the low here, we have a cold front here, and we have a warm front here. Now, it doesn't mean that we're going to get into the 70s into these regions. All it means is that we're going to be warmer. All right, warmer. Now, very cold air behind this thing. All right. However, what's interesting is as this moves eastward, the flow from Canada becomes a little less, therefore holding back on the cold air a little bit. But basically what the GFS shows is a major line of rains, all right, not snow, all right, and this would be very gusty rains, very, very, very gusty rains, all right, probably thunder within that. And then that moves out, and then basically our general pattern is a very warm pattern with, basically a warm pattern. All right, let's look at the Euro now. And let's just move on to when we have this little storm system forming. What's interesting with the Euro, and this is the main thing, what it does is it produces a little pulse of energy. So on Monday, we do get a little bit of rain and thunderstorms down in here, maybe some severe weather, but our main system is back out in here. All right. Now what happens is we get a front and we have our low down in here. All right. Now we get cold air coming in on Tuesday. So before Tuesday, okay, or actually before Tuesday evening, we talk about warm weather here in the Northeast. All right. Now we get cold air drain behind this front. Here is our low forming. We have some very heavy snow back out into the Dakotas. Okay, severe storms starting to break out into the Midwest. Okay, there's that nice severe weather. Here's our snow, major snows back out into the Dakotas. The snow moves into the Great Lakes. Things start blowing up in Michigan. All right. Now, here's where things get interesting. All right. What happens is here is our low. The question is and here's how I actually think this is going to perform. All right. This is how I personally think this is going to perform. The question is are we going to see a phase of the northern and southern streams? That's one of the questions. The second question here is this low? What is it going to do? Is it going to move up like this? Which I actually kind of don't think it is. I think it's going to take a track like this. All right. Or if it does move like this, we're going to definitely see a transfer of energy somewhere in here, and then a secondary storm that moves up like this. All right. Now, here is the thing. How fast does it move, and when does the main batch of precip move in? All right. Now, what's interesting, though, is that the Euro has a couple of different lows that start forming. All right. It has this low, and then it has another low down in here. All right, and notice what happens, okay? So what I'm trying to say here is that we have a very dynamic situation that's going to be happening, all right? Now, here is a low, okay? Now, this is Saturday morning, all right? And the low is down in here. What I think is going to happen is that this main batch of precip, the heaviest, all right, we're going to probably see during the afternoon on Saturday. I think this main batch of precip gets held off a little bit. I don't think it moves this fast from Friday evening through Saturday morning in through Saturday, Saturday overnight, or Friday overnight. What I think is going to end up happening is we'll most likely see a low. We'll probably find a low forming in here. There could be a low in here, or there could be a low down here. Okay, but right now I would go with a low in here, and what's going to probably end up happening is it travels something like this. Okay, now notice how with the Euro, it kind of forms that secondary storm, and then we get the main batch of precip coming in. And I do think, and this is just my thoughts, I do think that the main batch of precip comes in during the nighttime hours. All right, now the question here is that are we going to see dynamic cooling with this? Well, guess what? Folks who live on the northwestern side of this, with these very low pressures, all right, and with the very heavy precip that we have here, yeah, okay, it would most likely be happening. All right, now everybody's going to be starting to say, well, oh, you need to be in the highest of the elevations. Not necessarily, all right? I mean, elevation still does play a role, all right? But with these sorts of systems, all right, the ones that are very dynamic like this, elevation isn't everything, all right? And nor is the sun angle, nor is the time of the year. Everybody blames it on the time of the year. We're not talking about June or July here. We're talking about April, all right? And, it is, although things are warmer at this particular period of time, you also have to think when we had the October snowstorm. Everybody thought, oh, this storm isn't going to happen. The sun angle, the temperatures were too warm. Because before the storm, temperatures were pretty warm. Some people actually had 70-degree weather before the storm who actually did end up getting snow. All right? So that is definitely something to keep in mind. All right? Now, the Euro, how long has this been showing it? For pretty much. Although during the morning runs, it's a little bit on the lesser side. It keeps the snow amounts down a little bit. But even still, it's still showing snow. All right, now let's look at the snowfall amounts that it's putting out. All right, now, this can change significantly if we have the main batch of precip moving in a little bit earlier, which is what I strongly believe. All right, now, notice how we have major snows back out in here. I think it's almost etched in stone that these folks who live in here are going to get a major snowstorm, or at least a snowstorm. The question is these folks in here, and we'll even zoom into the northeast, just so we have it in a little bit more. So here's our snow. So here we go. All right. Now, do I think the main batch of precip comes in during the evening hours to bring these amounts higher? Yes. All right. Now, these guys right along the coast, all right, probably not going to see much. Where do I think the best area of snow is going to be? Basically, where you see the yellows. All right. These areas. All right. These are the regions that I think are going to do best if the Euro performs as I think it is. These guys in here will most likely see a mix situation, and then south of there, no snow at all. Absolutely no snow. So this includes the Cape, Central Jersey, Southern PA, and areas like that. These areas, though, let me tell you something. Uh, I have been kind of comparing between the October snowstorm and this storm system. There's a lot of there's a lot of there's a lot of similarities between the two, and temperatures are also similar, um, and also there's a lot that's similar. So all it's going to take, all right, and although the storm system isn't as strong as the October snowstorm, it's still pretty strong and it's still got a lot of precip with it. It's got a lot of moisture with it, all right. So we have to keep our eyes really peeled on this because this could do something pretty interesting. So my general theme here is that it's possible that the euro is wrong. It's definitely possible. All right. But why am I putting so much faith into the euro? Well, first of all, euro does very well with these types of storm systems. All right. It nailed the October snowstorm and many others this winter days out. All right. Days out. All right. The blizzard is one example that we had this year, and I could name many more. Sandy it got. So we have a lot of these major storms that it nailed. All right. People are saying, oh, well, the euro doesn't ever take, these models don't take into account this or that. What you want to know here is that the euro has done very, very well with all of the storms that it consistently said that was going to happen from basically 10 days out. And just to give you a nice, interesting tidbit of information, the GFS with the October snowstorm, if I recall correctly, and I could be 100% wrong, I believe showed a track cutting through the Great Lakes with that October snowstorm, while the Euro was showing a track up the coast, okay, and showing a major snowstorm for these guys. So what does that mean? Okay, I don't know, all right. Do I think we could be talking about something pretty serious if everything comes together? Yes. And would it be very, and could it be potentially damaging snows? Yes. Because again, the time of the year is obviously going to make the snow wetter and all of this other stuff. So we'll kind of keep our eyes peeled on this situation. We'll definitely give you continual updates throughout the weekend, and have a great rest of your Friday. And we'll be back tomorrow with another update. Take care, everyone.